following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey, I'm Christine.
Hello, I'm Janice.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit, where we're talking about modern dating, finding love, finding yourself. We're just informing the people about all kinds of shit.
We certainly are, and we're having fun while we do it. I've been so enjoying being your co-host the last several weeks. Look forward to it every week, even on weeks like this week when I'm not feeling well.
I know Janice hasn't been feeling well. She's under the weather, and I appreciate you. Oh, I just lost my light. I appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
And yeah, here we are.
We are.
I have weird face light things going on today.
Oh, you look beautiful always.
I'm checking out all different kinds of colors. Oh, there's something. So this week we're talking Dating 101. Last week we were talking about getting, questions about how to online date and how to get ready for that. So today we're gonna talk with Andrea Cook. She is a woman who is about to start dating. We're gonna
venture into the wild.
Yes, we're gonna talk to her shortly. But to prepare for that, Janice and I are going to talk about some steps to get ready to know, or not so much get ready, but to tell yourself or show yourself that you are ready to date. Maybe some steps to help with that. I am not liking my lighting right now.
Oh, it's genuinely not a problem, but
I feel like I'm like,
You're the host, so you got to be happy.
Well, I am something, and I do try to be happy. So let's talk about that. 12 steps to know if you're ready to start dating, to get into that bullshit realm. I think that some dating doesn't have to be bullshit. I think a lot of it is, though. That's my personal opinion.
You have to go through some bullshit. I mean, everybody does. Even if it's just your first date, that could at least be a little awkward. Or learning new things, learning about communication. There's a level of bullshit, I think, regardless of where you are in the process.
There's a level of bullshit with my hair today, too. I am not liking that.
Oh, you're fine.
So let's talk about step one.
Okay.
Close the previous chapter from your previous relationship or previous dating experience. Yep. I think working through what your issues were in that relationship or in that situation, and maybe writing down a list of good and bad, pros and cons. What did you find in that relationship that worked or didn't work for you? What do you think, Janice?
Yeah, 1,000%. So for those who don't know, I'm actually a breakup and dating coach, and I work one-on-one with people who are trying to heal a broken heart, process what happened, various things that come along with a bad breakup. And this is one of my top tips. A lot of people want to use dating as a Band-Aid. And one of my tips is I really suggest that people don't even think about dating until the breakup is behind them.
Yes.
To the point. And one way to gauge that is, well, there's many ways to gauge if a breakup is behind you. But one way to know is how often do you bring up your ex in conversations with your friends? So you're definitely allowed to go to your friends for support and whatnot. But if you're thinking about dating and you're finding that your ex and the breakup is in conversations often, I say hold off.
If you go on a date and your primary conversation piece is your ex or your divorce or your how you feel about your ex, then you are not ready to start dating.
Yeah, but even if you don't bring it up on the date, just the fact that it's such a presence in your life, I would say is a sign that you need to hold off.
Yeah. I went on a date this one time with this guy, and the entire first date was everything you should never do on a first date. And he talked about all his negative things. He talked about every past relationship, talked about all the negative things with them. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
It is
So-
interesting. Not everybody, follows the rules, and a lot of people are completely ignorant to them as well.
Exactly. So step 2, tap back into what you love to do. And by that, I mean, maybe you stopped doing some things when you were in a relationship. Maybe you were too busy, or you were doing things together that weren't necessarily some of the things that you like hiking, knitting, hiking, volunteering. I always use hiking as an
Christine,
example.
her favorite example is hiking.
Yeah. Because it's such a funny thing out here in LA. Everybody puts on their profiles hiking, whether they like to or not. And they think it's something that somebody else wants to do. And so they think they have to put down information that the other person will gravitate towards. Some people even put pictures of them with a dog, and it's not even their dog.
Yeah, it's
Just
more
because they
common than you
think-
would think.
Yeah, because people think that if they pretend to like something or do something that they don't necessarily want to do. So for step 2, it's like, go back to your roots of what do you want to do? What do you like to do? And, rediscover you.
Great. Yep. Think about what you like to do as a kid, or what you like to do on your free time when you don't have a partner.
Exactly. Step 3 is focus on self-love. I think this is huge. If you can't focus on self-love or find self-love yourself, then you need help. And there's plenty of dating coaches, plenty of, therapy situations or self-help books or whatever that can help you get there. And if you have a hard time finding that, you're always welcome to reach out to me on this show and send me an email, and I can point you in the right direction.
Yep.
What do you
1,000%. I always say, be your best friend, be your best company, be your best date. And if you can do all of that, then you can I think that you might be ready to date again.
Yeah, I agree. So I keep switching. I think there's a ghost in the machine today. Now I'm yellow. So number 4, get clarity on your needs. So if you start dating immediately after a breakup and you have not gotten clarity as to what your needs are, you may find that you immediately start dating the same type of person that you just broke up with.
Yep. It's a really easy way to live what you've just gone through. And yes, it's what you need, it's what you want, it's what you desire, and it's also what your boundaries and what I call roadblocks are, which is non-negotiables.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
With that being said, I really think knowing what you want is an incredibly important thing. If you, I've asked many people, many men and women, what are you looking for? And they're like, I don't know. Somebody to have fun with, someone to go hiking with.
Yeah. So that's not a relationship. I would say that you sound like to me that you want something casual. And you know what? I know for a fact that a lot of people would say, no, they do want a relationship. But when you ask them, what does that look like? They have no idea.
Exactly. They don't know. Yep. They don't know. Number 5, when you are evaluating who you are, what you want to do, what was good and bad in your past relationships, take time before you start dating, but don't take too much time, because if you take too much time, it's you can also talk yourself out of it. You can become too comfortable with being single, and you could also start to feel afraid of what the unknown is. And you can really hype yourself up to being terrified of what is going to happen when you start dating, and you may not know.
I'm a big advocate of staying single. I was single for 4 years before I started dating again. I was never scared, but yeah, I guess it really depends on your, 5-year plan. And for me, it didn't necessarily include having a partner, living with someone, or getting married. But I guess if yours does, yeah, you might want to push yourself after a certain amount of time to, get out there and at least try it.
Oh my God, that's better. I had to move the light. Okay, number 6. When your timeline is up, so say you've decided to create a timeline for yourself of when you think you would want to start dating again. When that timeline has come up, that's the time to reassess what you're feeling. Are you ready? Have you done the work, or have you just sat back and moaned and groaned about what was wrong with your last relationship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's good. I know for me, I work with lots of people as a breakup coach who will actually get to the end of their timeline and realize that they're so happy that they're just going to kind of continue to wait things out for a little bit. And I do think it's good to get to the point where you're really happy being single, because then you attract other people who are happy being single and who are confident and self-actualized and established and are going to be okay, regardless. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what, then go on a couple dates, and if you're not feeling it, you can always stop.
True.
I did that too.
Yeah, that leads us to number 7, which is recognize a lack of fear when it comes to dating. It's when you're sitting across from a stranger and you're asking, how many siblings do you have?
Okay.
Are you imagining that and you're terrified? Are you terrified of that?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going, okay, yeah, I can have a normal conversation with somebody and really start to get to know somebody?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I would say the remedy for this is, if you are feeling confronted by this, start going out places on your own and just get comfortable, even sitting and having a chat with the bartender or the person next to you. And I mean, this takes practice, especially for people who may not have dated as much during the pandemic. You got to get out, and you don't only have to practice with the person you're on a date with. You can practice with just people in general. So hit up the local pub and get used to chatting.
Funny you said that, because I, just came back from a trip this last week, and I would never have gone into an airport bar. I was there early. I had time to kill. I would have gone and sat down at my gate and read a book. Well, I'm on the phone. I know, whatever. And Janice is on the phone with me, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so jealous. I wish I could be at at an airport bar.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? I'm hungry. I have time to eat. I'm going to go to the airport bar. And I sat down and I met the coolest people. There was a couple next to me and they were chatting with me. There was a guy to my left. We were just chit-chatting. I found out he's from California, not far from where I live, but he lives in Colorado. He happened to be in the Oklahoma airport too. And he told me all about him and his girlfriend, which was so cute. And then the next guy down, also across the way, he was like at catty corner. He's telling me about how him and his wife have always lived in Oklahoma. They have 2 kids and he got a job in Florida, and how he's traveling back and forth to see his family. And it just was so cool. And it wasn't about dating or finding somebody, obviously. It was about being comfortable in my own skin, sitting there on my own and having these awesome conversations with normal people. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. So I'm 100% down with you on that. I think people should try that.
Great. And especially airports. I think, all bar tops are really fun, but there's something about the conversations you have with people at airports that are really special.
I think so too.
I purposely go early, girl, so that I can have a drink or 3.
I love that. Number 8, give yourself permission to start dating. I know it sounds funny, or kind of silly. But honestly, giving yourself the green light in making choices for you, I think is really important.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, this goes back to something that we talked about last week, which was with Jen asking us about speaking to her children about it. And I think it's especially important for parents to give themselves permission to do this just for you and to communicate that with the people around you, including your children.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, making time to do things for yourself, whether it be whether you're dating, hearing somebody else, just anybody, just say, hey, like with me, oh my God, I love your hair. Or you look really cute in that outfit. Like last night, I stopped to get food and I saw this girl walk by in the cutest outfit. And she just was kind of like, And I just said, oh my God, that is the cutest outfit. And you look awesome in it. And she just glowed. She just smiled. And going out and having fun and meeting people really gives you a boost of confidence that staying home alone does not do.
Yeah. Perfect example. Just smile at people in the store and you will notice that you get more and more and more comfortable approaching people and being approached in the right ways, because you have to choose to smile at someone, and that's an invitation. So great.
Yeah, I agree. Number 9, throw the damn dating rules out the fucking window. Honestly, don't do the stupid wait 3 days, don't have sex on the first date. That's my favorite one. It's like, go have fun, get to know people, see if you're compatible, see if you like each other, have a good time. Don't worry about what rule am I supposed to do, what am I not supposed to do. I just think rules are really stupid.
Yeah, I think I'm sure that we could sit here and think about exceptions, but I do think that when it comes to things like over texting, that I don't know if you would qualify that as a rule, but I know for me that does not come off well with a lot of people, myself included. And so with that, I would say, be really mindful of if the other person is really engaging with you and not going really hard and aggressive, especially in the beginning with the texting.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. I would say that, it's the rules that are going to hold you back from being you. From feeling comfortable with doing something and having fun. That's what that 3-day wait 3 days to contact somebody.
Cool. In fact, I was talking about this in our clubhouse room the other night, and that is when I meet a man and he actually texts me kind of soon and just was like, I can't wait to see you, I'd like to take you out. I really like that.
I do too.
Especially if they just, okay, great, we have plans, we'll leave it at that, I'll see you then. I think that's actually quite sexy.
Yeah, I do too. In the past, when I've online dated, somebody will, there's one group of people who constantly talk about, this and that and that and this, and they never get down into asking you out. Then there's the ones that talk to you briefly, ask you out, and then don't talk to you again until the fucking date. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, why do you need to chit chat when you don't know the person?
Well, this is the thing. Do you not want to know anything about me before we go? Are you spending all that other time now chatting with other women and trying to line up other dates? I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't have a problem with that either.
I don't like it.
Okay, you know what? We have different perspectives once in a while, and I wouldn't ever want to think that someone is going to have a first date with me and just stop talking to everyone else.
No. I don't mean that. I just mean I don't want to sit there thinking, oh, yeah, well, he's already, conquered this deal. He's moving on to the next one. It's just so weird to me. I don't I'm a monogamous kind of chick. So it feels odd to me.
Okay.
I don't know.
I prefer.
I know you're crazy.
Setting up other dates.
You're fucking crazy. The last 3 are pretty simple, pretty easy, and we'll just kind of get through them really quick, and then we can bring on our awesome guest, Andrea. 10, keep conversation light on the first date. Don't overshare. Just can't do it. Number 11, try all the different ways of meeting people. Don't just online date. Go to the bar, like we said. Go hiking by yourself. Go to the knitting club by yourself. I don't fucking care. Figure out other ways of meeting people. Don't just selectively do one thing. Keep that in mind. And number 12, pace yourself. So don't think that you have to find, your perfect person immediately, or the first person that you connect with, that they're your knight in shining armor, or your soulmate.
Yep.
That's bullshit.
Yep.
So yeah.
That's a great tip. Be really, really careful. Chemistry does not always equal compatibility, and it's really easy to completely ignore red flags or not even think about compatibility when you are around someone who you are so attracted to. So 1,000%.
I agree. So let's actually talk to Andrea. Let's bring on Andrea Cook and learn about her. And she's got a bunch of dating questions, or getting ready for dating questions for us.
Hi there.
Hey, Andrea. Andrea, I heard some really awesome things about you from a friend of mine.
You did?
Yeah. Tell us what you do.
So I've been a trainer since 17 years old, and in that, then, and all these years, all this experience, I've experienced a lot of trauma. I've experienced a lot of things in my life that have made me very introspective, and then taking that and turning that into a way to help others kind of move through, learn, grow, develop. A lot of what you ladies are talking about. I really took notes, and I really enjoyed that. And
thank you.
Developing that love of self, because that is the longest and most profound relationship you'll have in this lifetime.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I have a hard time hearing you, Andrea. Maybe you can come a little closer to your speaker.
I'm coming in.
Awesome. Thank you. So, I hear that you really are very instrumental in helping people, and you are a giver, and you give great advice and help women. And I commend you for that. Thank you so much. So tell us about your situation. Are you divorced? Are you single? What's your deal?
So I'm divorced. I've been divorced since 2011. So
me too.
Mine was 2012.
Yeah, so it's been a while. And to your point, I've been doing a ton of work, as I mentioned, and I can't believe it's been 11 years.
Yeah, time flies.
I can't believe it's been 11 years. I'm so happy by myself and moving around in my everyday life. I was originally waiting for my daughter to be out of the house, and she's 22 now. So it's really about kind of making that move. And at the same point, I am really, really solid on what I'm looking for in someone. So I don't know. I'm at that place where I'm not comfortable online dating. I don't really want to have my face out there, my profile out there, and have people looking at it that I'm not aware of. And
are you open to it at all, or are you wanting to talk just about meeting people in real life?
I want to talk about meeting people in real life. And I guess in my best case scenario would be that someone would introduce me to someone who has, they know well, they have vetted, and it's a really good person. And then on top of that, then we have to have chemistry, and we have to align, and all of these things. So I know I'm looking for a bit of a pipe dream.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either. I think that really keeping in mind what you're looking for and what you want is it's solid. Keep it. I'm good with that. Here's my question, though. Couple of things. One, do you have a source of friends and community that are able to introduce you to single men, or would you be open to matchmaker?
I would definitely be open to a matchmaker.
Okay.
Right.
One of my favorite things is actually watching Married at First Sight.
I was just watching that.
I watched it last night.
I love it. I love it because, of course, it's so easy to see, what other people are doing, and and look at maybe some of the things that they're doing to self-sabotage. You can see that from a distance, but it's so hard to see it in yourself.
Yes, it really is.
They have horrible conflict resolution. The people they pick.
I agree.
Or, I mean, maybe this is just kind of a common thing, but I'm always just really surprised at how little capacity their couples have for dealing with pretty everyday conflicts.
Well, they're looking for somebody and they think they know what they want, and they're still young. These are all 20-somethings. Let's never forget that.
Not the current season. They've got 35 plus, a couple of couples who are 35 plus.
That is true, but they have not been in long-term relationships in a long time. I think that matters.
They're not coaches.
They probably haven't done the kind of work that we're talking about doing for yourself.
I would agree with that. We're not seeing people who are, who have spent that amount of time really working on themselves, working on their self-love and their just self-awareness.
Yeah. And they're really, really hell-bent on being a certain way and nobody persuading them to be any other way. It's really weird. But that's the show. They wouldn't have drama and conflict if they didn't have people who didn't know how to, adapt. I mean, which is sad.
So I'm really looking for somebody who's evolved and evolving, right? So somebody who's still constantly learning and constantly increasing that awareness and adjusting and continuing to become a better human. I mean, that's really what I'm looking for.
Don't we all, girl?
Yeah.
Or at least us women who have been there ourselves, who have evolved ourselves, who are constantly working on ourselves, and who are really wanting to present the best part of ourselves to another person. Right. We are looking for the same thing, of course. Do you have some questions for us?
Well, I'm very curious about one of the things that you said earlier in regard to the chemistry, which I totally get, because I find that I'm more attracted to the human being really than what I see right away. So just curious about that chemistry. Does it grow?
Yeah, I love this question so much. In fact, this is one of my favorite topics, probably, is this exact thing. Because the problem is that so many people get caught up in, physical attraction to someone, and I guess also having really good conversations with someone, easy to talk to. I would consider these things to be more on the chemistry side than on the compatibility side, which is why I think, I guess, two things. First of all, well, this is related to online dating, but maybe we could apply it in real life. I think if someone doesn't meet your physical type, but you are somewhat curious about them, or you think that they seem like a decent person, I think that a maybe is a yes as far as a date goes. What do you think, Christine?
Yeah, there's been times in my past that I've looked at somebody and gone, not really my type. But then their personality was just bang up. And I go, oh, okay, well, maybe we can become friends. And then it developed into a relationship. It's then, later, after I hated them, and I realized they were not compatible to me. Then I went back to really wasn't my type. But I do agree. All jokes aside, I do agree. I think that when you take time to get to know the person and really figure out who they are mentally, emotionally, then that physical side, I think, can really grow.
Yes, I completely agree.
Let's use a common thing with us right now. Let's use this as an example. Did y'all see the Married at First Sight with Jamie and her husband?
Yes, the first one.
The first one, she took one look at him and was like, eh.
That was the cringiest thing, but it turned out to be magic.
to
Right.
love him. And their relationship is magic, like Janice said. And they have 2 kids, and they're the first season. And look how many years they've been together now.
Right.
And it can happen. I think when people get too caught up in the physical side, they can lose sight of who the person is. And also, they could lose sight of they're not compatible and you're just going for the D, or you're just going for the looks.
Yeah.
And then you wind up with somebody that you can't even fathom being in a room with for 5 minutes beyond having sex.
Yes,
So
I think so too. So I think, yeah, if you can carry on a conversation, if the person seems interesting, and if they have things about them that you think you could see in a partner, I say completely go for it. Don't worry about height. That's one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to women and dating.
height,
And then
yes.
I think a maybe for a second date is a yes for a second date.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know who the person is after the first date yet because they were so nervous, or they had a lot going on that day and they didn't want to disappoint you by canceling and they still went anyway. There could be a million factors that could have been maybe not a huge connection, but they were interesting or funny or cute or whatever, and you give them another chance.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
I
also
agree.
because so many of us want to have fireworks on the first date and want the person to sit down and just, want to text your friend like, hell yeah, and just, talk the whole time. And but really that's just, not only is it not realistic, again, if it's just chemistry, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to lead to something healthy that'll grow over time. So I think if you had an okay time, that see them again.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind that the other person may not be this evolved. They are a man.
Right.
And I, got to tell you that a lot of men are visual. And if they are not immediately attracted to you, but they, are like, wow, she's pretty smart, she's pretty dynamic, she's pretty funny. Sometimes they just go, yeah, friend, don't need another friend, and walk away, and may miss out on the fact that this could be their person. And they didn't take the time to look past, maybe she had a bad hair day. Maybe she went a little light on the, heavy on the makeup because she was nervous, and they didn't like makeup, and she doesn't normally wear makeup. There's lots of factors. I wish men could really take the time sometimes to go, I'm going to look past maybe the fact that she might not be my dream Barbie, and get to know her, and then find that they could be very compatible. But
yeah. So what are your compatibility factors? And this, which is a really good question to maybe be asking yourself before you get out there.
Right.
Do you know what you like? Do you have an answer to that?
Well, so I'm looking for somebody who's compassionate.
Okay.
Right? Somebody who's compassionate, as I said, evolved and evolving. So I'm looking for somebody who takes some responsibility in the learning and growing and changing. I've been with blamers, and nothing makes me more upset than that.
Finger pointers.
Yeah, because I do think that we just need to continue to grow and evolve. I really think that's part of the reason why we're here. And so if I'm with somebody who's blaming, that's not going to happen. I'm okay if they have a process, right? If they have a process in which they've got to go through where they're identifying what happened and why they did something, and then looking at it differently, I'm good with that. But I can't be with somebody who takes no responsibility. I have been with narcissists, and that can be really hard to identify in the beginning because they are so charming and because they do give you exactly what you want to see.
Which is another reason not to just go for chemistry. Because those people who will charm your socks off are, for me, those are the people that I really want to be around in the beginning, because they make you feel good. And it's not always a good sign. I think all three of us can tell a few really horrible stories about dating men like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's, it's definitely, I'm really looking for real. And so one of the questions that I would ask is how do you set the stage to see who somebody is? When you're first dating, how do you set the stage for that?
I think it's about spending time with somebody in a place that's not too distracting.
Mm,
Maybe, how do I say this? Restaurants are difficult because they're trying to impress you. I hate coffee shops. They're a job interview.
so you're thinking hiking, right?
What's that? Actually, I make a joke about the hiking, but I'm going to be quite frank about this fucking hiking thing. I like it. I'll tell you why. It shows me how they are in uncomfortable situations. Maybe it's hot. Maybe they're breathing hard. Maybe it's a tough trail. Do they like being outside? I had a guy tell me he liked hiking. We went hiking, and he hated dirt. And he didn't like sweating, and I love that. I love to see a guy sweat. I think it's one of the sexiest things I could ever see a guy do is sweat. And I think that if you put yourself in a place that you are really taking the time to hear each other without distractions, uh, and that could be whatever, I don't know what appeals to you. Janice, what do you think?
Yes, so I think first of all, Christine and I are both pretty big fans of the short first date. So I personally would not be planning a hike for a first date. I would plan something that is maybe 90 minutes or shorter, typically getting drinks and just seeing how something simple like that goes. But then maybe for the second date, do something quite different, like a walk or something a little longer. And so as you're back to your question of how can you tell if someone's real and what they're really like, mixing things up and doing different things with them and for the initial dates is one really great way to do that. I know I've, gotten into a cycle of just kind of going either to bars or restaurants with someone I'm dating, just like every time we hang out.
Right.
And really regretted that. Not because I don't like going to bars or restaurants. In fact, that's my favorite thing to do. But because once you get into other situations, you see that they're, much different.
Yeah.
And I would also say that having boundaries in the beginning with your time is a good way that I have found to see what a guy's really like. And that might mean spacing dates out, only, just being upfront about your time restrictions, when you can hang out, how often, for how long, that type of thing. And if they're cool and laid back about it, that's one thing. If they try to, come over to your house even when you don't want them to, that's another, which I did have that happen to me. The guy thought he was being romantic, but it was just like a blatant violation of my boundaries. So, I had to stop seeing them.
Yeah, that's really, really helpful.
Good. Yes. Yes. And also I think spacing things out in general, because you'll give yourself time in between dates to think about what happened. Whereas sometimes people get really excited about the person and, oh, someone wants to see me and I want to see them. So, let's schedule the next date. And then all you're writing on is the chemistry and the high from the last time you saw them, especially if you're going to see them less than a week later. And then you're excited and you're anticipating. And then, and you're never actually stopping to think about, oh, they said this thing about their career or this thing about their 5-year plan, or they mentioned something about their family that I did or didn't like. You don't even think about any of that. So I'm a slow dater person for sure.
Well, and go ahead, Christine. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. I was going to give an example of something, but I'll wait.
So, you really make a good point. I know that you were talking about when you did your list, missing the red flags, right? And missing the red flags because of your excitement and because of your attraction, that you might be giving them the benefit of the doubt when really, you should have given that some thought. So I do like that piece of spacing it out so you can reflect and
Well,
identify. Maybe it's just something you want to ask them later.
Well, also keep in mind when you're writing down things that are important to you, what you want, what you need, your wants and needs for a relationship and for a person. Keep in mind you want to very specifically think about what your red flags are, because some people, I think, start creating red flags because they're afraid to be in the situation they're in. Meaning, maybe it's a really good thing for you, and a lot of people self-sabotage and then start looking for shit that is irrelevant. So keep in mind what are real red flags and what is your mind trying to self-sabotage. I am brilliant at self-sabotaging.
I might give you a run for your money.
I'm fucking good at it. Just ask Sean.
Do you think that it's a fear of intimacy on both your parts?
I don't think it's a fear of intimacy.
Fear of abandonment?
Abandonment, 100% for one for me. What do you think, Andrea?
I think that I need to do some more reflection on that. Thank you very much, Janice.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I think that the kind of the self-sabotage is not believing, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is not believing that it could be true. I think there's a piece of a skepticism.
Yeah.
Right. That allows me to not accept, right, those good things coming in and take them as real. So then I kind of have to bat it back a little bit to see if it's true.
Yeah, I like that. And again, going slow with someone and being reflective, I think will help you with that. And having your list ready ahead of time. That's something that's kind of what Christine is saying, is think about this before you start meeting people, rather than meeting someone and then going and thinking, well, do they tick the boxes? But what boxes? They tick this. Yeah, I like that. That's what I want. That's what I need. And they just think about it ahead of time. I did that recently. I had like actual lists written up, and being able to reference them as I started dating was helpful.
Yeah. I think knowing the difference between wants and needs is very important.
Yes.
Wants could be height. Need could be someone who is emotionally available. What's more important to you, the emotional available or the support, or someone who is a really good communicator, or somebody who makes a lot of money? That could be a want, sorry.
Right.
Another friend of ours, Janice and ours, talks a lot about how she has to have someone who skis. And we're like, what's more important? Right. Somebody who can ski with you, or can't you go skiing on your own? Can't you go skiing with friends? Can't you go to the lodge and hang out? You go ski and then come back and, sit by the fire with this person? Or is that more important than somebody who's got your back and is trustworthy and, can talk to you about all the important things in life?
And that's something really important to think about. I think that's a perfect example of how some people really want to meet someone who has their same interests, because they think, oh, I want to be with them all the time, so we should do things together. And I also don't think that that's necessarily healthy. And I think the healthiest relationships are ones where the two people support each other in their own endeavors, are okay with spending time apart. And someone who's going to support you to go and do your thing is more important than doing it with them. I think all things
100%, Janice, you're speaking the truth today.
So Andrea, are you getting out there? Are you doing things, whether or not you're doing them to meet someone? What's the situation right now as far as, getting out there?
Getting out. So it's so funny because I was just saying today that I really have been making an effort to kind of push myself out of my comfort zone. I'm definitely one of those people that really appreciates connection. So
Yeah.
my relationships, my friendships, they're very deep conversations that I have with people. I'm like, I am so present that I think it kind of is unnerving to some people, but I really appreciate that type of time and connection with my friends, right? I may not see them all the time, but when I do, like I'm in there, I'm there. So I really have had to push myself with opportunities to meet new people, not necessarily romantic, you know,
Mhm.
romantic interactions, but I've definitely been going out more. I was never one to sit at the bar by myself, so I've been pushing myself to do that.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people. I'm very comfortable going out by myself, but I'm not necessarily comfortable putting myself in a situation where I could be approached or approaching someone else. So,
I mean,
so I've really been working on that too, and that's been helpful. And then having conversations with people that are more light interactions.
yeah, I think that's
What
good.
what if you were to write down, I don't know, keep it simple and start with 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 5 things that you think would take you out of your comfort zone and out of your box
Right?
to challenge yourself. Okay. Get dressed up, do your hair and makeup as if you're going on a date. Date yourself. Pick
Mm-hmm.
5 different things so you can do them within a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. Maybe one of them could be the bar by yourself. So you don't go to a table, you go to the bar and
Right.
you sit at a place where there's open space so someone can approach, and you smile and joke and talk to the bartender and talk to people around you. And that's maybe step 1. Then maybe the second one is, if you can't go and eat by yourself, that you go and eat somewhere where you can be seen by people and approached by people, or going to the movies by yourself, or go do an activity that requires you to interact with folks
Right.
and making yourself approachable. And maybe you just choose 3, choose 5, choose whatever. But maybe what you do is you write them down and you say,
Mm-hmm.
this is what's going to make me feel out of my comfort zone. This is what I want to do. And give yourself maybe a timeline. This week I'm going to go to the bar, and I'm going to go to a sports bar where there's a lot of guys.
That's a tip of mine. Yeah.
You don't just
Yeah.
go to a loungy by yourself where there's a bunch of dating couples, because that's pointless. Go to the sports bar and say, okay, I
Yeah.
can do this.
That's
And
actually such a good tip, Christine.
yeah. Or maybe you go to a golf course. And if you golf, go golfing at a time where maybe there's open times where a lot of men are there.
Go to the bar at the golf course.
Go to the
Right.
club and bar at the golf course. Maybe take a lesson, or just go to the driving range, hit a few balls, and then go have a drink. But sit at the bar so that you're approachable. At a table, you're not approachable.
Also, other single people go to bar tops, which is why it's one of my tips. Is because
Right.
it's all people who are by themselves, or not always, but often.
Mm-hmm.
So really quick, here's a question for you. What is it that you love to do that or maybe not so much that you love to do? What is it that there are the possibility of a lot of single men to be at that you could go and do? Do you know?
So I absolutely can go to a sports bar and
Mhm.
sit at the bar. I absolutely can do that. I normally would not do that, just so you know, but I can do that. Yeah, I mean the golfing thing too. I could definitely go hit a bucket of balls and then go have a drink.
I think that's hot.
could do that.
Oh, I have one.
Sure.
Find a bowling alley that has league night.
love bowling, actually.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
join a league.
Join a
So
league.
fun.
It
And
would be a
so-
blast.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. See, that's something I probably wouldn't do, but she lit up. You lit up when Christine
love
said that.
bowling. I think I don't know. It's just
But
fun.
join
And
a
I expect you
league.
to do well.
Well, find out from your bowling alley when there's league night, and then put your name in the hat for a league that they need people. And don't go knowing somebody.
Right.
Go and meet people. That is going to that's going to have men there. Guarantee it.
It's so interesting too, because I used to be in sales eons ago, and even when I went with people I knew, I would break off and I'd go meet everybody I could in the room. So maybe I need to start using that approach for myself.
Well, I used to be in sales too. When I was an event coordinator, I worked for this big yacht company, and we used to have to go to mingles, that mingle nights, the corporate nights where everybody would go. And right before we'd go, the manager of the place would say, "Oh yeah, the person who has the most business cards at the end of the night,
Right.
and have met and connected with people gets this." And I was like, bitch, I'm meeting everybody tonight. I won that every time because I put myself out there. And now I can literally talk to anybody about anything. So give that a try and see what you think. And please report back to us. Come tell us how these work. Also, reach out to me. Let me know where you live, because maybe we can connect you with a matchmaker.
We know a bunch.
We know a bunch.
Hit us up, please.
Yeah.
I think that'd be very interesting. I would definitely do that.
Well, I'd love to hear what your 5 things are, because I'd like to hold you accountable. I'd like to challenge you with those. I'd love to know if any of the advice we gave tonight was helpful, because that is important to us.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep us posted, and maybe we can come up with some other ideas for you.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for being here. Janice, thanks for being my awesome co-host today. I appreciate it. Everything Janice says, just as, whether I agree about, certain things or not, they're still damn good. Thanks everybody for listening today. We run out of time all the time and I hate it, but here we go. We're going to be here next week, same time, same place. And until then, let's just keep this fucking shit real. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.